and welcome to How Do You Drew?
This is a Drew Barrymore podcast brought to you by thedrewsium.com.
And sponsored by our friends at Positive Medium.
I'm Anne.
And I'm Ashley.
And welcome to an episode that we've been looking forward to since we started this podcast.
A totally awesome episode.
I hope you're ready for the totally awesome edition of How Do You Drew?
Yeah, right? This is very exciting. We're doing The Wedding Singer. This is a big deal for us. I was kind of thinking we've had some movies that were like, wow, it's cool that we went and revisited those. We haven't watched those in forever, Amy Fisher or Cat's Eye or one of those randoms. This is something I've still continually watched many, 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 many times over the years. There's no oh, I forgot about this movie.
Yes. And actually, I have watched it many, many times. It's been a little while, but I'm so familiar with it that the scene that was added was that was immediately jarring. Yes.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But yeah, this is great because not only are we so familiar, but we just love it so much. So this is
and it aligns with the first year we became fans. It literally, is
started it off, kicked it off. I would say this is obviously I've mentioned Scream as my favorite movie, hard stop. But if we're going to talk about for Drew, because Scream is only a little bit for Drew.
Yeah.
The Wedding Singer is my favorite. It's my favorite Drew Barrymore vehicle.
And it is. I love that there's something that's in the notes later that talks about in Adam Sandler movies, usually there wouldn't be many scenes without him, and that they were able to do that because Drew had the star power and she could carry it, and she was carrying this alongside. I was actually thinking about who is the main character? I guess the main character, it's the Wedding Singer, it's the title of the film.
Yeah.
But it's just as much about her evolution as it is about his.
I think so too. It's really nicely, evenly distributed. We'll talk about all that.
Yes.
Okay, so before we start, should we do my favorite IMDb summary of the movie?
Yes, let's hear it.
This one's pretty good. Okay. Robbie, a singer, and Julia, a waitress, are both engaged, but to the wrong people. Fortune intervenes to help them discover each other. So, accurate, but I feel there's a huge part missing, which is that this movie takes place in 1985.
Yes.
It's almost like a character in the movie, the 80s.
It actually is so in your face so many times.
Yeah.
The Rubik's Cube. No one's ever gonna solve this. Or take off the Van Halen t-shirt before they break up. Or it's just all over the place.
But yeah, I was okay, everybody, make sure you're sitting down for this information. But
I'm sitting down, thankfully.
This taking place in 1985 and being released in 1998 is the equivalent to a movie coming out today that would take place in 2011.
What?
At first I was 2001, and then I'm nope.
2011? That's
yesterday. 5 minutes ago. Yeah. And what would be the jokes?
I mean, so yeah,
a little hipstery, I guess.
Yeah, it would have a lot of bands that start with the. No, that's probably even 5 years before.
Right. That's more also, 2003.
I'm does that mean that things have evolved slower, or would I look at pictures from 2011 and feel that way? I don't really know, but either way, that feels that's clearly us aging. That we're still that's recent. 2011 feels recent, genuinely.
So I had to throw that fact in at the top just to make everyone feel sick about how old we are.
If other people don't have these reactions to dates like we do, I'm shocked because I'm always
just
do.
What?
Okay.
They do. Okay.
Okay, so let's get into the movie. So
let's do it.
So The Lovely Wedding Singer. One of the reasons we're talking about this movie is we've wanted to align it with, right around Valentine's Day. And this movie was released the day before Valentine's Day 26 years ago. Hello.
Again, just one more little weird fact.
Yeah.
So the time between when this takes place and when it was released, we have doubled that now from when the movie came out.
I just want the head explosion emoji right here. Okay, so the movie was directed by Frank Coraci, who also directed the Adam and Drew vehicle Blended years later. And it was written by Tim Herlihy, who has a cameo as the bartender in the movie, which I didn't know.
I don't think I knew that until recently either. Tim and Frank, I think, like, kind of came up with Adam. Like, they've known each other for a long time. We know how Adam likes to use like his friends and people that he's known forever in productions over and over again.
Totally.
You know that we like to come at you guys with all of the little tidbits, the things that you might not know about. We do a lot of research when we do these big movies. So let's just hear from Drew herself, sort of how she got involved with this movie.
I showed up to Adam and I said, I'm convinced you and I are supposed to do a movie together. And I have a production company that I'm starting, Flower Films. You have Happy Madison, and I'd like to join forces. What if we put our production companies together and created something?
And Wedding Singer was born.
And The Wedding Singer
was
born.
I
love the haircut.
You love the haircut, okay.
Drew talks about like having this determination to work together. She described it in Wildflowers. She says, I begged, borrowed, and stole to get him to sit down with me. And she says it in this, but she was like convinced they were meant to work together. She was drawn to his light, which, hello, Drew, you're the one with the light. I
know,
see
so
it.
funny.
And it's so neat that this like actually came together. We talked about a few times their like first meeting and had a lot of like discussion about like where it was and what color her hair was, right?
Yeah, because like she said purplish. I think it really was purplish. I think it was the end of 95, but somewhere along the line, she also said black. So 96, we don't know.
Okay. I feel we talked about like the newsroom cafe, or maybe we found out that
Yeah,
fact.
you know, it's funny. So we have a whole episode about Drew and Adam Sandler and their history together. It's a great episode. It's actually our third most popular episode. So if you've missed that, somehow it's number 47. But I think what happened was we were like, oh, it'd be so cool to know the coffee shop or the place that they met the first time. And then as we were doing the show, I think we played a clip and Adam said it was the Newsroom Cafe. So Adam answered us.
That's right. That's right. So one more thing that Drew said is, I had an idea. He had an idea. We decided which one we liked and we chose his. That's the coolest thing in the world. She said this in an issue of Movie Line. And I was wondering, is the other thing that weird movie that we've talked about a few times?
Frigid and Impotent.
Okay. Yes.
As far as we know.
When I was watching this, The Wedding Singer, I was like thinking like, wow, what a different how differently that would have like shot them. It wouldn't have shot them into like mainstream stardom the way that this did.
Probably not. It's like a quirky black comedy, and this is like a broad, happy, everybody loves it.
Yes.
Rom-com.
Yeah.
So we should mention, so Tim is the, credited writer, but the script was also worked on by a lot of people. But it sounds like in a fun, collaborative way, not like in a Charlie's Angels kind of way.
Yes, to fix all the problems way.
Yeah. So Adam worked on it, Judd Apatow, Carrie Fisher, which is so cool.
I love how many things she ghost wrote on. Like,
I know, it's such a
so cool
thing.
Yeah.
But she specifically worked with Drew on fleshing out the character of Juliet Moore, which cool. Love that. So we have a lot of cool information about that. Drew was on Howard Stern and mentioned this in a little more detail, and I thought this was fun to hear.
No, it was a really amazing collaboration, the way that script came together. I knew that I didn't want to just be a girl. I wanted always things to be equal two-handers, because those were the movies I loved, where people were really fleshed out.
A lot of these movies, the girls just sort of like, oh, yeah, you're so great. Yeah, she's there. You wanted to be in the movie.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And I would sit there and talk about, who is this guy and who is this girl? What is the story here, and how do they balance each other out?
So you must be so grateful to Adam for taking you seriously when he could have had any co-star and really developing something with you.
He was hot shit. He could have done anything he wanted, and he believed in me, and I believed in him.
Aw.
Yeah.
That's darling. I mean, we've heard basically that story, but in different words many, many times. But I still love hearing that. And I don't think I knew or remembered that Carrie Fisher had worked on that. And I definitely didn't know that she was like kind of specifically there for Julia. I love that so much.
I know.
So Drew also talked about how she and Adam were really on the ground with this. Like they did it from the bottom up, which was very exciting during the writing process. She said it's so much more fulfilling when you get to be an actual collaborator. And I was just re-listening to our episode with Mona May, which I'll mention a little bit later, but she talks about how Drew is just really involved in the whole process. And we know this about her. Like, she wants to be there, like on the ground while they're doing the work.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just say that here that this is basically like kind of one of those unofficial practice productions for Flower Films. They were not credited. It wasn't like they officially a Flower Films production, but they consider this Scream and Ever After to sort of be like where they practiced and got ready for Never Been Kissed.
So awesome. What great practice.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit more about the character and what Drew wanted for her. Drew wanted Julia to be the girlfriend that men would want to be with. I wanted her to be a girl who was not a nag, a girl who was a simple pleasure to be around and really wanted to have fun. Just an all around cheerful person. And I totally agree with that. Like Julia is so just, I definitely am like, oh, I want to be more like her. She's just so lovely.
Just easygoing and like kind and has a smile on her face.
Yeah.
She said, she's the woman I long to be, the perfect girl. She's so easy. She is so not complex. I love that. Like
Drew's probably like, I wish I could be like that.
And I think sometimes maybe it's like because of characters like this that at times we've been surprised by how like anxious and stuff that Drew actually is as a person.
Yeah.
Like if we associate her with like, you know, the strength of like her characters in some of her films, it's like, really? Drew has insecurities?
That's a great point. I
love
know? That.
Yeah. She said playing Julia was like a breath of fresh air, which I love that too, considering, hey, once again, I mentioned Ever After, just breathe.
Yeah. Well, and that's also like, it was such an interesting time in her career where she really, I mean, this is truly like the first rom-com that she was like, the girl in the couple. Like this is the first one. Yeah. People associate her with rom-coms, but like she hadn't done any like this before. She played a lot of like bad girl, quote unquote, characters. I could totally see that this would be like, you know, sort of a new light for her to be seen in, which is so fun.
Okay, so let's talk about some more of the amazing cast.
There's so many people. We can't even go through all of them.
Some of them are, you know, people who are like in other Adam Sandler movies. Like we talk about Alan Covert. You know, he's in like, I think maybe every Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah, he might be.
But he plays basically Robbie's best friend, Sammy. And then we have Christine Taylor, who plays Holly, Julia's cousin. And I love her in this.
I feel like people never remember that they're cousins. Like I feel like people are always calling her like the best friend, which she is like the best friend. But yeah,
they only like, really mentioned it one
at the beginning.
Yeah. And I only probably remembered because I just freshly watched the movie, and also we have in our notes something about her being her cousin, and I was like, oh yeah, so it's like fresh in my mind. Also the amazing Alexis Arquette, rest in peace.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Played George, who's supposed to be like what's his name?
Boy George.
Oh, Boy George. I always do that. And you made a note that Drew kind of grew up around their family, and we've talked about some connections with David Arquette in the past. And I'm guessing they were like LA families, right?
Yeah, I don't really know the details or where I saw this or heard it, but at some point she definitely talked about like growing up around the Arquettes. So I love just thinking about them like already having known each other before this.
Yeah, totally. And then we have two like great comedians and actors, uncredited. Steve Buscemi, amazing.
Oh my
and
God.
John Lovitz, who plays this like really like revolting character, I must say.
A different type of wedding singer.
Yes, I didn't realize that they were both uncredited.
Yeah, wild, right?
So interesting. Like, why? Maybe
I
just like
really
friends.
know.
Like, maybe it had to do with like that they did it for like scale, or who knows? Like,
yeah, I know. Henry Winkler is uncredited in Scream, and part of the reason that he wanted to do it that way was not to draw any attention away from like all these kind of newcomer kids.
Oh, interesting.
So I don't know. I guess there's definitely different reasons behind it.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
The costumes, as you mentioned, are by the amazing Mona May. She later would also go on to do Never Been Kissed and Santa Clarita Diet. We have a really cool episode interviewing her. It's our episode 48. If you want to go hear more details about the costumes and how they collaborated and all that, it's really a really cool, interesting conversation. And she's so fun.
Yeah, she is really fun. Drew also said, I just thought Julia should be the sort of girl who wasn't ever going to be deeply affected by a fashion trend. I thought she would have a consistency about her and that she would wear the same sort of clothing and would always do so. And I love that we literally talked about this with Mona May. We were talking specifically about like the necklace that's like the oval shaped black necklace that we'll talk about, I'm sure, when we're talking about the movie, and also the jean jacket. I do wish we could confirm about the jean jacket, whether it's actually Drew's, because we did talk about it with Mona, but we didn't ask her that question.
Yeah. And then our hair and makeup department heads are, of course, our old standbys. The wonderful Kim Green did makeup and Barbara Olvera did hair, and they have worked with Drew many, 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 many times. We also have an episode with Kim Green. It's our number 20 if you want to listen to that. We don't really get into The Wedding Singer that much, but we get into many of her other productions she collaborated with Drew on.
Yeah, we go into a lot about Ever After and Never Been Kissed specifically, which was it was so fun. Like how lucky our episode 20 we had Kim Green. Like
she's so cool. We do have like a detailed rundown of all the products that were used for Drew's hair and makeup from In Style. They did this full page feature on it. I think it'd be kind of boring to read, but like on air, but we'll share it on the episode page on howdoyoudrew.com. And then you can read if you're interested, if you're into those types of things.
That's so cool. I totally forgot that was a thing, even though I think I can picture the page you're talking about.
Probably.
So Drew talks about her hair specifically. She said she had a great stylist who would cut her hair into chin-length bob and smoothed out her waves. She's talking about Barbara, of course. But yeah, I hadn't really thought about like how like mostly straight her hair is, except for like, a little flip at the end.
I kind of didn't think about that either. That's not her texture.
And you know what? Like this is something when I was watching the movie, like about her hair, like it makes it hard to place it time-wise for her. I've never thought about it because I just don't think about like, I mean, of course I do think about how close 1995 is to like 1997 when this would have filmed, but my brain hasn't really like thought about the time of filming for Wedding Singer that much. So when I think about what her hair looks like in like real life at the time that this was filming, it was like wavy, right? Like it was totally different.
No, because like think about that Elizabeth Taylor birthday thing that she went to.
Oh, that looked like it was like just right after work though.
That's this time. Yeah. I mean, I don't know that she ever like
really went to events.
She wasn't photographed that much. Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that
we don't
weird?
really have a lot to show for it.
But that's kind of like, it almost is like more proof of this. Like it's hard to place it. Like you don't see her publicly with that hair very much.
Yeah. That and Ever After. Like 1997, she just like wasn't really, I mean, the only hair we really see her have is like the short baby bangs, but like the before and the after with those two movies, she was just like filming and never came out from.
That's true. So both of those films, like she's got hair, well, and Home Fries, all of them, she has like weird hair, although Home Fries was filmed earlier, but all of them are like not Drew's hair normally.
Well, I mean, she always talks about how when she's getting into a character, she starts with the hair. Like that's what helps her like become the character.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I have a memory. I don't know the source for this, but I know I didn't make this up. I have a memory that Drew at one point thought that she wanted Julia to be like really androgynous and look like Gary Newman. It's the singer like who sings that song Cars.
Yeah.
Car.
Yeah.
He's like got like big, like heavy eyeliner.
Yep.
I don't remember where that came from, but obviously they decided against that. I think that was probably a good move.
So let's get into some things that some of the people who worked with her on the movie said about her, because of course we love having people like gush about our girl.
It's the Kind Comments Corner.
This is the Kind Comments Corner. Historical edition.
Yeah.
So Frank Karachi said about Drew, there's a great lightness to her, and yet she also has a lot of wisdom, especially for a young girl. Drew is the kind of girl every guy falls in love with.
And Alan Covert said, I firmly believe after watching her work that she can do anything she wants. She has a natural talent and she has no fear. So sweet.
Love that. And then our screenwriter, Tim, said, Drew elevated things for us. The scenes with her and Christine, the scenes with her without Adam were all great. You look at Adam's first movies and there's not a lot without Adam, because we did test screening and they said, get rid of that scene. But this time with Drew, we were able to do that and have those scenes survive the movie. So this is what I was talking about earlier. I love this.
That's such a cool fact.
Yeah, it like literally Drew's performance made them change the way they generally edit Adam's films. Like that's so cool.
Go Drew.
I was like, yeah, come on.
Okay, so that's sort of like the background. They ended up shooting the movie in the beginning of 1997, definitely around February, probably like January, February, March, if I had to guess, because Drew cut her hair in April.
Yeah.
And it was all filmed in the Los Angeles, like greater area. And we've been lucky enough to visit a lot of the locations. I would say almost every single one of these were found by our wonderful friend, Lindsay Blake of IamNotAstalker.com, who we just had on the show a couple episodes ago.
We're in one of those modes where we're like, check out all of our episodes.
Well, there's just a lot of overlap.
Yes.
Do you remember? I think we did this all in one day.
I feel like we did either them all in one day or definitely all in one like weekend or something. But they were like Pasadena adjacent, Montrose.
Yeah.
Yep. It was so fun. And I had forgotten until like watching the movie last night.
I've been there.
I was like, wait, how many did we go to? And then I went to our page and I was like, wow, this is pretty cool and pretty impressive. And we did the really fun thing that we appreciate from Lindsay Blake so much and did a lot of like matching pictures to the film.
Yeah.
And I think they're really cool.
They're on our website, thedrewseum.com/locations. You can see every kind of Drew related location that we've gone to take photos at. And these ones are really some of the best.
We visited 3 of the houses used for the film. And of course, they probably just used exteriors, but who knows? So we went to Robbie's house, Julia's house, and Rosie's house. And I think they were all within like a few miles of each other.
Yeah, they were close. And then we also went to some of the like businesses that are shown in the movie, the bakery, the nightclub, and the parking lot that was used for the limo test driving classic. They were cones.
And they were cones. Yes. I was going to say about the limo parking lot. So was that at the Huntington Gardens parking lot?
No, I think it's the other one,
Descanso Gardens. That was in Montrose. That's right. There's a part in the movie. Well, actually, both weddings in the movie.
Yes.
You can see like a sculpture in the background. And I immediately was like, is that the Huntington?
We could find out.
Okay. I feel like we should know this because it's very recognizable.
Editor's note. I was right. It's the Huntington.
But yes, make sure you check out our locations page. We've got lots of fun pictures. And I remember us having a lot of fun and getting really excited about how well things still matched.
It was a great day.
Yeah.
Just one more quote from Drew about making the film. She said it was one of the best environments. Every day when everyone came on the set, people would start clapping and you'd see people pulling into work in the parking lot at 8 a.m. with smiles on their faces, and it lasted all day long. Most importantly, constant laughter took place on this film. It was really challenging not to laugh during half of those scenes. And then there's a really cute interview with them in 1998, Drew and Adam talking about specifically this sort of getting the giggles.
Adam was always with a microphone and guitar, so he would go all day long.
Yeah, I try to make Drew laugh.
Yeah, he did all the time, too. And sometimes we'd laugh too hard, and then we'd get the giggles, and then it would be all over, and we couldn't go on with the scene because...
Drew gets the giggles, and who can tell Drew to stop laughing? But it's beautiful to see everybody having a nice time, and one angry guy like, I gotta get home.
After 20 minutes, I'm like, I need to shoot.
I feel like I've heard many, many times how fun Adam Sandler's sets are. Like, Tony Crago told us that. Like, that's a thing that's known. So no surprise that Drew was giggling all day long. Also, I love picturing people getting impatient with her.
I know. But it also makes me just think of like how certain films, not all of them for her, but certain ones have become like her family. And this is a great example of, you know, that sort of really good, happy family energy.
Absolutely.
Howdy Drewbies.
We want to tell you about our sponsor, Positive Medium. We've actually been clients of theirs for at least 10 years, and they take care of all of our website needs for thedrewseum.com.
They offer custom web design and professional coding, search engine optimization, marketing, and hosting. So we've been hosted by them, but we've also been able to take advantage of a lot of their expertise in these other areas as well.
Absolutely. So customer service is the biggest draw for us with this company. They have saved our site literally from obliteration quite a few times. But then they also help us with minor issues in just like literally a matter of minutes. So if we have like a coding question or just like something on the back end we can't figure out, we reach out to them and we get an answer back and the issue is solved within moments.
We're so excited that Positive Medium is allowing us to offer our listeners 25% off managed WordPress hosting plans using our promo code DREW, D-R-E-W, of course. And if you want to take advantage of this, visit positivemedium.com. We really, really vouch for these people. They've been so great to us and will continue to be great to us. I can only imagine.
I mean, they're great by offering this to our listeners. So take advantage. Again, it's promo code DREW, of course.
Oh, I can feel all the happiness in here. All right. And look at him go. If I get to know your name.
All right, let's talk about the movie.
And I hope that you enjoy the movie. We had the best time making it.
Want to give a toast to these guys?
Adam, it was a pleasure to work with you.
Oh, yeah, it was an honor to work with you,
I
Drew.
look forward to doing it again, and I'm mostly glad that we're friends.
Me too. All right,
you.
here's to Drew, everybody.
And I'm mostly glad that we're friends. All right, so the movie. So we'll say really quickly that this is going to be a little different than our previous movie episodes because we will be doing a Patreon exclusive commentary for this film. So a lot of our normal like, oh, I love this part where this, like we're still going to be doing that, but a little bit less than usual. So if you want to hear us talk about all the things that we love about this film, including Drew and non-Drew things, join Patreon. And within this month at some point, we'll be releasing a commentary.
I'm so excited to do that. It's going to be really fun. And when I was watching the movie, I was like, oh, it's going to be so easy. Because, you know, you're always like, oh, what if we don't have a lot to say during certain scenes? So I was like, no, we'll be talking the whole time.
Yeah.
I think we all can remember like the iconic opening scene. The opening scene's actually very long, but like, you know, you have Adam singing the You Spin Me Right Round and the credits are going and interspersed with like classic 80s dance moves, 80s wedding, like total cheesiness. I love it.
Yeah. And I noted in my notes, because that was like, I pulled my notebook out, the movie started and I was like already like shimmying my shoulders around. I was like, okay, this is the vibe. We're getting into it.
Yeah.
Also, like, there's so much iconic stuff in that first scene. Like, Adam's in the blue jacket from the movie poster. We get Alexis as George, like, right away. And like you said, like,
so good.
all the, you know, sort of like, this is the 80s sort of stuff that's in your face. But it does feel like you're like, okay, here we are. Like, it really sets the scene of like, okay, this is his job. He's like, you know, amping up this room.
And he's really good at it.
Yeah. You understand very quickly that he's like a good wedding singer. He's not just like this boring
and a good person because he like saves from, you know, Steve Buscemi's like best man speech.
Okay. The best man, everybody.
Best man, the better man.
Hey, we've all done crazy things in our
I love when he starts playing the guitar. And
He's playing the guitar now, isn't that great?
Hey.
He's doing good.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah. Let's got some of the best guitar player in the world. There. Self-taught, no lessons. Thank you very much, Pop.
yeah, it's iconic.
Yeah. And Robbie, that's Adam's character, like kind of saves the day. So you're right away, you're like, oh, this is a nice, good guy. Like you can just tell. Of course, like with all comedies from the 90s, there are some problematic moments that you look at now and you're like, don't love that we get a bit of transphobia in this movie. George is definitely not treated particularly kindly. It's like played for a joke the entire time. Don't love that. But overall, I would say this probably has less than a lot of other Adam movies where you're cringing.
Yes.
Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, there were a lot of things in this that I was like, I didn't want to say it, but it's like, this is a different time.
Yeah.
And us talking about the amount of time that has passed almost makes that feel like it's actually true. I mean, we know we've seen like media change, but 26 years is quite a long time. I feel like a lot of the evolutions towards like actually recognizing that it's not a gender binary.
Yeah.
That there's been so much that's been done, even just in the last like 2 years. And there's so much work to be done.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course we're going to recognize that because we're talking about a historical film, guys. Let's get into Drew's entrance.
Yeah. She's the new waitress.
Yeah. I like that it's like you don't see her. And Sammy, this is Ellen Covert's character, is like kind of talking about how he's been checking her out.
Yeah, it's being a slime ball. But I love that it's like you see her in slow motion and she has a sweet smile being the waitress, but then all of a sudden she like hits someone in the head with their tray. And I did find something where she said she wanted Julia to be a little Charlie Chaplin-esque, like being kind of clumsy. That was funny.
But that's like the only instance.
Yeah, that's it.
I had made a note before seeing your note about that I feel like there was like a little bit of a slapstickiness to when she hits the guest in the head, because she like, you know, like gasps. And I think that Adam's films do have like those slapstick elements to them. So it is interesting that she thought of her character, I guess, as a little clumsy.
Yeah. But their little meet cute moment out in the alleyway by the dumpster. I love that scene still so much. Like my face was just beaming when I watched it. I feel like that's the part where I just like, yep, I love this girl. I want to be Drew Barrymore. She is the coolest. I even wrote it in my journal after I watched this for the first time. She's the raddest chick ever is what I wrote.
Yeah, she is so dreamy. And they're like sitting behind like this event space next to a dumpster on like concrete steps.
Should it be romantic?
All you need is like their chemistry.
Yeah.
It's very darling. And I do love the dialogue delivery in this part and the voice crackleness.
Yeah.
You're the wedding singer.
Yeah. How you doing? I'm Robbie.
I'm Julia. I'm actually waitressing at your wedding next week.
Cool. That's a beautiful ring you have there. Are you getting married soon?
Actually, I don't know how serious the guy is who gave this to me. Right now, I feel like I'm doomed to wander the planet alone forever.
Oh, no. Kind of like the Incredible Hulk, huh?
I really like when she talks about being doomed to wander the planet alone forever.
As a 16-year-old who wasn't dating, I was definitely like emo, like related. I love that line. I understand. I'm 16 and alone. But the funny thing is, Drew's 22 when she filmed this. So it's also like, okay, you're fine, girl. Chill out. It's kind of funny when you think of that.
When you're attached to Glenn, we'll get into him later. I feel like I'd rather wander the planet alone forever. We'll get into that.
I think I've even mentioned this before, but it cracks me up at myself. This scene is still to this day, because I have like right and left issues sometimes. Okay. This is how I remember what finger you wear your wedding ring on. I picture this scene and Drew's hand, and so it must be on the left.
Oh my God, that's really funny. Thanks,
Drew.
I mean, don't worry about not remembering, because I don't remember. But
well, now
you should maybe be ashamed because you wear a wedding ring.
Yeah, I mean, I guess now I don't have to think as hard about it.
Yeah, as hard. So
I picture Drew's hand, not my own. That's pretty weird.
I love that so much. Okay, so now Drew's being dropped off to work, what's supposed to be Robbie's wedding, and we get the first look at her butterfly jacket.
Yeah, we love that butterfly jacket. So I saw on IMDb that supposedly it was hers. I've never heard that before. I could see it being true, but I don't want to say
confirmation.
It as a fact.
It would be so cool to confirm that.
Yeah.
I feel like that jacket, obviously I'm going to associate it with Julia's character, but it's just so perfect. It just feels like the exactly right thing that she should be wearing.
It's true. And she wears it a lot in the movie, which I love. I love the repeat of the necklace with the black oval necklace and the jacket. It makes sense for this character. She's not wearing a bunch of different clothes all the time.
Yeah, totally. And this was the first time that I was like, was that Huntington Gardens?
Did you catch when, later on Robbie's at home and they have the little bride topper's gone from the cake, that when he's holding it actually looks like Julia, not Linda.
I have never thought about that.
Oh, it's cute. She has little short blonde hair. It's perfect.
The thought I did have, which is I guess sort of the antithesis of this is that does not look like Linda.
Yeah.
So there we go. I
got halfway there.
I had the glass half empty version.
Yeah.
Okay, so once we have a scene that shows the exterior of Julia's house, which is one of the places that we went to, I was excited right away.
Yeah.
And we see her adorable yellow car.
Yeah, great note. I forgot to mention that.
And I couldn't help but think about Mad Love, the yellow bug. I thought they were both VWs, but they're not, unfortunately.
She also drives a yellow car that belongs to her brother and never been kissed.
Oh my God.
And I feel like there might even be one more. I remember this being like a thing I would like think about as like cool when I was like in my early fandom.
That's so cool.
And yellow is like basically her signature color these days on the show.
Yes, it's like their color. That's so cute. I mean, of course, immediately I think of Mad Love. It's like everything, my brain goes there first.
Drew is just so cute in the scene where she's like singing 99 Loose Balloons. And then
oh my God,
this is where we meet Glenn, and it's just like, immediately you're just like, ew, this is the guy, Julia.
And I had forgotten like how we're introduced to him because I already have seen this movie many times. So like I'm like, oh, this is our introduction, and I'm trying to feel neutral about him, and I'm just like, nope. Like right away, I'm just like sleazeball.
And you know what's interesting? So I was thinking about Christine Taylor. When she was on the show, she said that Ben Stiller had actually been offered that part, but he was unable to do it. And so I was kind of thinking about what it would have been like. And I feel like with him, it would have played like he can play sleazy, but it's in a much more comical way. Like I think his name's Matthew Glave. He like plays it and you totally believe he is that guy. Like there's no, you're not laughing with him. You're just like, ew.
Yeah.
You suck.
It's been a long time since I've seen Reality Bites, but isn't Ben Stiller kind of a jerk in that? Or does he like evolve a little bit?
Kind of. Yeah. That's actually one of the only ones I can think of where I would like sort of see it.
Yeah.
So that's funny. You thought of that too. But yeah, I just feel like it maybe would have been a little more broad and less like, I don't know.
I actually think that this actor did a perfect job.
Like almost too good.
Yeah, I mean, his smile and everything. Like he's got like a cute dimply smile, but every time he does it, I want to puke.
Yep.
Oh my God. And it's not like, we're not saying he's like ugly. It's literally just like a character. Like he nails it. Robbie's wedding does not happen. You guys probably know this if you're listening to this. So he like wasn't doing weddings for a while, and then he's convinced by Sammy he's got to get back to work. So he's got to go and do the wedding singer thing.
Which of course is a disaster.
It's a disaster. We'll talk more about this, I'm sure, during the commentary because there's lots of visual stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta say, one thing that I noticed with this that didn't age well is all of the like fat, ugly,
fat shaming.
Yeah, they're it's like fat and ugly.
Yep.
Like those are the worst things that you could be. Or androgynous.
Yep.
It's like everything.
Yep, I know. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because I had the exact same. You better not be fat or ugly in an Adam Sandler movie.
Yes.
But that all being said, like personally, I still love the mutants at Table 9.
Me too.
Like, okay, I didn't really talk about this. Well, I'll talk about it more when we get to the release. But this movie was a big deal in my age group, in my school, my friend group. Yeah. And Mutants at Table 9 is something we've like carried forever. Like we had a wedding like rehearsal dinner once where we're like some of us were seated and like not getting good service or something. And it was like, we are the mutants at Table 9. Like that one I still love. Sorry.
No, I do too, because it like evokes a certain thing about like the table of the oddballs at an event. It's like, it's a thing. They don't have to be mutants. They don't have to be, quote unquote, typically ugly.
Yeah.
But it's like just the people at the wedding that like are maybe single. And I think that's actually the point here, because then they sing Love Stinks.
Love stinks?
Love stinks! Yeah!
Love stinks!
Love stinks! Yeah!
Love stinks?
Love stinks!
The big fight, of course.
Yeah. So then out by the dumpsters again, we have Julia like looking for Robbie, and she's just so sweet. And she's like so sad seeing how miserable he is. And Drew just plays it really, really well. I just love her little faces in this movie.
Hey. I was wondering what happened to you.
It's so sweet. And I noted, I was like, oh, they're back at the scene of the crime of their meet cute.
Yeah.
Like we're having another moment of connection here. Yeah, Drew finding Robbie literally in the dumpster.
In the dumpster.
Another like infinitely quotable part of the movie. We just can't not mention this because I feel like it's too good. His sister and his like brother-in-law clearly have been talking about like, he's going a little nuts. And so his nephews.
Oh, the goofball brothers.
Is it true that you're in the middle of a nervous breakdown?
No.
Nervous breakdown.
Who said that?
Everybody's been saying that.
Everybody? You're 8 years old. You only know your parents. What are you talking about?
Isn't it true that you're going to end up in a mental institution? Cuckoo's nest.
No.
I just love this.
I do too. I mean, and it's also one of those things like, oh, what's another bad thing you can be? Mentally ill.
Yeah, true.
Okay, so now let's talk about the engagement party. So Julia and Glenn have their like quote unquote official engagement party.
Yeah, because they're gonna really get married now. He set the date. And yeah, I love her cute little vintage Betsy Johnson jacket with the roses on it.
So cute. How did you know it was Betsy Johnson? Was it just something you've learned over the years?
Yeah, Mona mentioned it in the behind the scenes of The Wedding Singer. There's a really shitty copy of half of it on YouTube. Like myself right now, Drew has a really scratchy voice in this scene, and I always liked it.
Yeah, I've mentioned like the crackles in her voice earlier.
Hi, guys. Sammy. She was a Sammy.
Sammy and Robbie.
This is my fiance, Glenn.
Yes.
But yeah, this is one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie is where Robbie and Julia kind of like start teasing Sammy.
First time this guy saw you, he told me he was gonna hit on you.
Really?
That's not true. Yeah, it is. You told me she was in trouble. She was going to get it, and she didn't even know it.
He's teasing. I would never say that.
What? You said you were gonna give it to her.
Give me what exactly?
Yeah.
You're a jerk.
What do you mean? You didn't know she was engaged?
So now you're not gonna give it to me?
Very funny.
Say hi to your brother Tito.
I noted the same thing, of course, because it's classic. Again, Alan Covert just playing like the greatest, like kind of like dumb.
But it's funny, like, you know, I'm watching it like, oh, they're so cute together. But like they're being really flirtatious at her engagement party. Like you can just imagine somebody off to the side being like, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Oh my God. I mean, again, this is something that is very visual, but I noticed that the way that their faces were like focused was very much like shallow, like the way if you were talking to someone in a crowded room and you were just focused on them, that's the way those like shots are in those scenes.
That's a really cool observation.
I was noticing like how the way it's framed is aiding that. It's really cool.
Good job, Frank.
Yeah, good job. Then there's a bar mitzvah because we learned that the wedding singer doesn't really want to be doing weddings right now. The last one was quite disastrous. So yeah, so we got this bar mitzvah.
I should have asked him for more details, but my husband, Jason, actually went to school with the guy who's supposed to be the big loser.
That's so funny because while I was watching it, I was like, it'd be cool to get like a quote from that guy.
I love the like unspoken understanding between Julia and Robbie when he's saying, you know, pick the most unlosery boy. And she like had clocked him, kind of consoling that boy earlier. And she's like, you can see she's like, got it. I know what we're doing here. It's so sweet.
It's so sweet. I love it so much too. And Adam Sandler films. Here we go. There's more butt grabbing in this.
Oh my gosh. There's so much butt stuff in this movie. Talking about butts, grabbing butts, so much.
You know what? It doesn't ruin it.
Although I'm like not sure about these grown adults doing butt grabbing with these 12-year-old kids.
Yeah, not sure about that. But this scene includes very lovely glances at each other between Julia and Robbie.
Seriously, I really like how he sings that song. That's all.
It's beautiful.
Wonderful. I know.
Glad to know that my demands are small. Say it's me that you'll adore. For now and evermore, that's all.
And the way that like Julia's looking at him, I like get very I get a little teary-eyed at that part. It's just so sweet.
There were a couple parts in the movie where I got chills, just like little, and that might have been one because it's just like there's something so tender about the whole thing. And they're in like, again, it sort of has that thing where it almost feels like it's just them and they're like working an event. So it's very cool.
Yay.
And then Julia convinces Robbie that he should help her with wedding planning. So we get a whole series of adorable stuff.
So much fun stuff. The fake sibling fighting when they're at the photographer's. I almost wonder if that was a little improvised. Like Drew's reactions look pretty legit when he grabs her hair.
It's really funny.
We gotta love the scene where she goes to audition, as we mentioned, this other wedding singer played by John Lovitz, who is just disgusting, singing Ladies Night. Her reactions are so good. Like Drew really does a lot of subtle stuff with her face in this movie that I appreciate and love so much.
I think that this is the first time she got to, well, okay, what other comedies had she done before?
Not a lot. I mean, I guess technically Everyone Says I Love You. She definitely plays like the straight woman in that too, but she is playing for laughs, but
yes,
there's not a lot.
I love the subtlety of it. Yeah, for sure. Love what she's wearing.
That polka dot dress, adorable.
So cute.
So many good dresses in this movie. We'll call out like every single one in the commentary, I'm sure.
Yes, if you want to hear all the things we love, if you want to hear everything, just make sure you become a Patreon member.
Her response to this creep is so good.
Business has tripled.
Well, you've just inspired me to hire a DJ. So thank you.
Oh, yeah.
This is like a thing. The soundtracks, because there were two for this movie, were really big, at least in my friend group. And there is like an actual track that's called Have You Written Anything Lately? And it's the audio from that part there. And I always was like, oh, there's Drew. Like, it was all excited.
Yep.
So Drew's talked about, and we'll get there, about not having heard Grow Old With You. I was wondering if she had ever heard this song, Somebody Kill Me, before Adam performed it or not. Like, probably not. I feel like maybe she would have let that one stay fresh as well. I don't know. It's just fun to think about.
Her reaction is really cute.
Yeah.
I liked it.
And then this is a scene that, I don't know how it's become like in my, what's the word I want to use?
Vernacular.
Thank you, vernacular. John Lovett's line at the end of Adam Sandler singing this, like, both hilarious and beautiful song.
Losing his mind. And I'm reaping all the benefits.
Speaking of saying things, I noticed when they're on their little ice cream date after this, Drew says, "May I ask what happened with Linda?" And I noticed that I've always noticed she says that in real life all the time. May I ask? Yep. So I wonder if that was like a line that she put in there herself.
Or like they were like, ask him about Linda.
Yeah. And just let her do it. Yep. Get like everybody going to try on the wedding dresses, which is kind of funny because Julia doesn't try any on herself. I'm like, that's not really how that works.
When it came on, I was like, okay, this is for her. So we're going to see her. And I'm like, wait, no, we don't until later.
Which is kind of cool. But
one of the last things in like this planning for the wedding part, we talked about that we visited the parking lot where the limo driving occurs. One of the other most quotable things within like the same 5 minutes. Alan Covert's classic.
You hit 2 cones. Those could have been people. Those could have been guests at her wedding. They were cones.
And you know what's so funny about that one? I mean, it's so good, but I thought it was like an inside joke with me and my friends. Like, it's kind of weird, but like, why do so many people know like it? But so many people know it. Yeah.
I know. It's such a funny thing.
Yeah, they were cones forever and ever a favorite.
They were cones. They were cones forever. Okay, so now the kiss.
Oh, I love this scene. Yeah, so Julia and Holly are talking about like what her first kiss at her wedding should be like.
Well, maybe a little tongue. Not porno tongue, church tongue.
And the expressions on Drew's face. There's
my gosh,
classic ones here.
Yeah, after they kiss and she's like backing away and she's got this like dumbstruck happy look on her face. That to me is like, yep, when you feel like really smitten about somebody, that is what you feel like. Like
your head is floating like a cloud. Yeah. Like so sweet.
Oh, she looks so young in that part too. Oh
yeah, gosh. She does. And the kiss, I love how they film the kiss once again.
I do love when Adam just says right after the kiss, I gave her the jacket. Like he's also dumbstruck.
Yes. Well, then Glenn comes home and he's like, I kissed her, but it didn't mean anything. And they pretend that it's about Holly. It's just a cute little thing.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, now the weird deleted scene.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it definitely took me out for a second because I probably always, I mean, I had a VHS of this that I would watch it on a lot. But yeah, we both have some weird copy that I think it's called like the Totally Awesome Extended Edition.
Yeah.
All it has that's special is this one
scene. Yeah, as far as I know.
So yeah, it's just Robbie goes to Rosie, the lady who he does the singing lessons for. He goes over to her house. She's like working out and talking about his penis a lot. Drew comes in with these crazy wild lime green pants that don't like match really anything else Julia would wear.
They look very floral though too. Like
that's true. And there's just like a weird like flow and timing to the scene. Like, you know how sometimes you watch a deleted scene and they didn't like fully process it or edit it or whatever, and you could just feel it's off.
Yes.
That I felt like that.
It feels like there's sort of like beats that don't feel like the right length.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad they cut it. The double date is a great scene. It opens with that song Blue Monday. We'll talk about it when we get to it in Little Girl Lost, but that was like her song with her boyfriend when she was like 12.
Oh my God.
So I always think about that when that scene starts.
When I think about Blue Monday, I think about the version by the band Orgy. Yes, who I loved in high school, by the way. This is like a classic scene. I mean, it's classic because you're seeing like the clashing of like two worlds, basically.
Like Robbie versus Glenn. Like,
yes.
Yeah. Drew has some great faces because she's like, you know, she's been drinking too much because Julia's not very happy about this double date thing that's going on right now. She's already like totally having feelings for Robbie, and she's like very bothered by seeing Holly all over him.
Yep. And we can't forget to mention her look is like great here.
Oh, she looks so cute.
She looks so cute.
Everything. I would totally wear this dress.
Yeah. And even like the hoop earrings, it's so great. It's so great. I would totally wear this whole outfit because I love boots with the boots. A dress.
Yeah, me too.
On. So great.
The China girl singing the David Bowie song.
I love David Bowie. When I get excited, my little China girl, she says, oh baby, just you shut your mouth.
Love it, love it, love
classic,
it.
Classic, classic. And then we mentioned that we visited this space. So there's a point when Drew leaves the table because she's got to puke.
Yeah, I think I'd like forgotten this connection, but I've definitely made it at some point before. But her puking at a club is exactly how she met her boyfriend, Eric Erlandson, in the 90s.
Didn't he recently just repost something about the mac and cheese thing? And he put like
sent it to him from our Jerseum account, and he reposted it
with a vomit emoji, right?
Yes. Anyway.
So good. So, you know, she's being kind of brought outside by Robbie, and Drew is so cute.
Oh, I love how she says this line.
I puked.
Okay. Don't worry.
I vomited in my hair.
All right.
Does my hair smell?
How can that line be so cute? Only Drew.
I know,
right?
Only Drew. And then I had this memory of another thing I can't source, but at some point she had said that she feels like Julia would have used Herbal Essence's shampoo. Just a fun little factoid.
It's funny for a couple reasons, because I loved and swore by that shampoo, like probably like within that span of years, like in the 90s.
Yeah.
I was like Herbal Essences all the way. And it did have a lovely smell.
The commercials were
oh my God, they were like
thing.
the orgasmic thing. But yeah, of course Robbie comments about how good her hair smells. So I love that that's what, like, if it's like Drew's idea that was so cute. And I just love Drew's adorable face when Robbie's closing the door of the DeLorean.
So sad.
It's so sad. Like, don't go off with Glenn.
I know.
No.
What are you doing?
All right. So next day she's hungover.
Yeah. I love how she's asking Holly about the date, and she's trying to be like kind of casual about it, but you can tell she's like, what happened with you guys? I don't even want to know.
Her curiosity is not purely just casual curiosity.
And I think Holly is such a great, like, you know, they could definitely have made her be like, oh, Robbie likes you, or I don't know. She could have been played differently. And I think I love that she's played like I'm just going to like casually put this out there. I'm going to see how she reacts. I'm not pushing anything. I'm giving her the facts. I'm letting her know I did the kiss and that was all it was. Like, I don't know. I just love the approach there. She's a good cousin. She knows that Robbie has a thing for Julia.
Yes.
And I do love when Holly tells Julia that Robbie thinks Glenn is a jerk off. And Drew looks like kind of excited. Like, it's like when you know your crush is
she's like, wait,
maybe
really?
likes you too. It's so good.
Wait, why would he be judging Glenn? I'm actually curious when I watch this film why Robbie never tells Julia that Glenn cheats on her. But I guess he's like, he doesn't want to stoop to that level of like, I'm going to be the reason they break up, even though he ends up being the reason they break up in a positive way.
True. We get the scene where she goes to give him the gift where she made like music paper.
Blank sheet music.
There you go. Thank you. That's what it's called. This is Words and Music by Robbie Hart. So sweet.
So darling.
She's all excited to go over to Rosie's house and give it to him, but he's not there because, you know, he wants to get a real job in the city, wherever the city is.
Oh my God. Yeah, because where are they supposed to live? Is it not New Jersey?
Maybe it is. I don't know.
I think it might be New Jersey.
Ridgefield is what it's called, but I don't know.
I think that might be a town in New Jersey. I was thinking like maybe New York City.
Oh, okay.
We get a pretty cool peek of Julia wearing the butterfly jacket again. I noticed some detail I hadn't noticed before in this scene. So keep an eye out.
There's lots of different butterfly patches on it. So fun.
It's really neat.
And then their fight is so sad because he's being a jerk and she's so hurt.
You asshole.
Oh my gosh. It makes me cry. It's so good, Drew.
Yep.
Yeah, and then there's like, you know, this like back and forth kind of like they're each going to tell each other how they feel, but then there's these miscommunications, you know, classic rom-com stuff.
Yep.
But it starts with Julia in her room. She's trying on her wedding dress. Mona had said that she designed the wedding dress for Drew to look angelic in, which is so sweet.
She really does.
Yeah, it's really cute. Got her cute little gloves, her little lace gloves.
Yeah, which are like kind of have a Madonna sort of
vibe.
It's
like it's 80s, but it's not like, you know, some of the weddings in the beginning of the movie, the bride's dresses are like the hideous, huge shoulders that, you know, all that 80s stuff. Julia's more simple girl.
And it's classic. Like I would wear this dress. It's beautiful. Once again, we get her out of touch mom trying to give her advice. Like first earlier in the film, she's like telling her to fake a pregnancy. And now she's telling her like, stay with Glenn.
I know. She's like saying, I don't know if I'm in love with him. I don't know if I want to marry him. She's like, no. You're going to marry Glenn. You're going to be happy. I'm like, no, she's not, Mom.
Yep. But this scene is so sweet. I mean, so her mom leaves and then we get her introducing herself in the mirror as her like potentially new married name.
Julia.
It's nice to meet you. I'm Mrs. Julia Hi, I'm pleased to meet you. I'm Mrs. Robbie Hart. Robbie and I are so pleased you could come to our wedding.
I wonder if that part was Drew's idea because she talks a lot about how she talks in the mirror like this. Like she's mentioned it so many times, like before a date, she'll always be like, oh my gosh, hi, like talking to herself in the mirror. So I love to think that this was her little contribution.
But yeah, one of the greatest shots we get in this scene is Robbie wants to proclaim his love to Julia, but when he walks up to her house, he sees her lit in this window in her wedding dress, smiling.
But it's because she's saying she's Mrs. Robbie Hart.
I know. If only he could hear it. I just got chills right now because I think that's one of the scenes where I'm like,
the way she says it, she's
so
good.
Close yet so far away.
Yeah. And then, of course, she goes to tell him that she's in love with him. And then stupid Linda is there from the night before because he got drunk. And yeah, great outfit, great lipstick on Drew in this scene.
Yep. And I just had to point out that we get to see Drew driving her yellow car in this scene.
Oh, yeah.
And we also have seen it in Mad Love of her driving her yellow car. So it's kind of neat to like, I don't know. I think it's cool when they actually like show the actor like coming up the street in the car. There's something
cool
about it. So I think that's kind of fun. I do love this outfit.
Yeah. It's
so much.
So darling.
Yeah.
Very like 50s, but it just works.
Yep. And is this where Linda answers the door?
In her underwear. Yeah. Sure thing, Julia. What does she call her? Jennifer?
It's Julia.
So then she runs over to Glenn's, his bedroom, and is like butt in those tiny. It's all so perfectly like 80s sleazy, gross. Yuck.
You know, like who the person is, like right away.
Yeah. Actually, we'll talk about it more in the commentary, but I was paying a lot of attention to the set decoration in the movie, and it's all really well done.
So awesome.
Props to whoever did that. Literally props.
Yeah. Once again, if you want to hear us talk more about this, you know what to do.
Patreon.com/howdoyoudo. Okay, that ad's over.
Every 5 minutes. Okay, so then the decision, Julia bursts in the room and says, let's go to Vegas and get married. They're getting married the next day.
I know, it's so silly. And I'm also like, I don't know if I buy that Julia would miss Rosie's anniversary party.
I don't think I do either.
There when Rosie's been rehearsing, and she's just like the kind of girl that would show up for that. So maybe she forgot because she was so upset.
Yeah, but she's also like doing other things out of character. She doesn't really want to get married in Vegas.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I was going to say earlier in the movie when he like says, okay, let's get married at home. He says something like, you care more about it anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, geez. And in this case, he's like, all right, you want to do what I want to do? And he gets this like creepy little dimple smile going.
I do love her little vintage airplane ensemble. Like even her little, she's not holding a purse. She's holding like a makeup case almost.
Oh, I didn't even take note of that.
Yeah, it's really cute. And it's almost like there's like an 80s Barbie that kind of looks like this outfit. It's like like a working girl Barbie or something like that. I've never thought of it before till just this moment, but it reminds me of that with the pink polka dots and all that.
Also, I just realized how similar the pink shade is to the dress that she wears in Never Been Kissed at the end.
Oh yeah. Mona, is this a Mona thing?
Yeah, probably is.
When she gets her big love proclamation moment, she has to wear sweet pink.
Oh, we've got to do a little comparison of that. It's such a darling dress. There's a couple moments when they show Drew without like this jacket that she's wearing.
Yeah.
It's such, I would wear that dress.
Totally.
Once again, polka dots, very cute.
Yeah. Her face when they're on the plane.
Once again, yes.
Glenn won't switch seats with her. And she's like, oh, okay. And then her face goes like dark and like, God damn it.
Well, and I also love that this is a callback because.
Yeah. So Robbie says that's one of the things he should have known about how Linda wasn't the right one for him.
Yeah.
Because she wouldn't let him
It was over the Grand Canyon in that one.
Yeah.
And then here we go. It's like.
Yeah.
I also have a selfish partner.
She's like, God damn it. But I got to keep going through with this.
I love it so much because the transition of her face from like the sweetest smile.
It's so good. More good face stuff, Drew.
So great. It's so great.
I'm really embarrassed to admit this, but I know that the first time I saw the movie, I did not realize that Robbie and Julia were on the same flight.
But do you mean like until they revealed it?
Right. Yeah. But like now it's like I watched it with Mila a year ago and she's like, oh, they're on the same plane. And I was like, yep, you know things I don't notice apparently.
I feel like I don't think they really expect that you'll know.
Definitely not, but it's like pretty obvious.
Yeah, I think Mila is like I think audiences are more and more sophisticated.
That's
true. That's the thing. True. It's like, I don't know. I'll just give Mila credit. She's a sophisticated audience. I love that Billy Idol is just randomly on the plane.
So good.
I think this is a really fun addition because he has a couple of lines that work really well. He's like championing Robbie's plight.
He like understands Glenn. Robbie's like, see, Billy Idol gets it. Why doesn't she get it?
Yes. And I couldn't help but think about like Drew and Billy Idol reminiscing about the 80s.
Totally.
It's really fun to imagine. Like,
yeah, I had the same thought. Did they reminisce?
If they did, who knows? And then here we are at the most heart-wrenching scene in the film.
I wanna make you smile whenever you're sad. Carry you around when your arthritis is bad. All I wanna do is grow old with you.
Oh my gosh. So I like the second the song starts and Drew was reacting to seeing it, or Julia, I guess. That like totally, like what you said earlier, full body chills. Like I like get totally eyes welling up with tears. You can almost put yourself in her shoes. It's just so well done. Oh, I love it so much.
It's so sweet. And again, it's like the subtle face things, but like when she realized that she thinks she recognizes the voice.
Yes.
You pulled a little clip of her talking about that scene from a Korean appearance.
Yeah, I just totally stumbled upon this recently. I wasn't even looking for wedding singer stuff, but this was in 2018. She was in Korea on a show, and the sweet interviewer wanted to talk about this scene, and it's great. Let's listen to it.
I don't think I've seen it before, so here we go.
Yeah, absolutely. Adam sings that song, that famous song that's been performed at a lot of weddings.
Yeah.
But I said, Adam, I don't want to hear the song or see you do it until we're rolling the cameras and it's the first time, because then I can give my first reaction and it'll be authentic. So this reaction is me seeing and hearing it for the very first time.
Oh, really?
Yes, but the closing lines of this scene, like just the little exchange between Julia and Robbie.
Yeah.
That was the most beautiful song.
I got a confession to make. That song was about you. I'm in love with you.
I am so in love with you.
I love that Drew goes from like happy crying to laughing. Like
it's just perfect. It's such a classic scene, and it should be.
Yep.
And then Robbie and Julia's wedding. And of course, I'm like, oh, Daisy's in her bouquet. You know, Drew put that touch in there.
Had to be. My mom, who was married in 1982, had a bouquet of daisies and yellow roses. So it's actually very similar to Drew's here.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I had to note that the song True, which is funny because Steve Buscemi is like the new wedding singer, yes, or at least for this wedding he is. But yeah, that song is in Charlie's Angels, where she's over at Eric Knox's house and, you know, I want to shake and all that.
Aww. We love Sam Rockwell.
Yeah, we do. Oh my God. We'll talk about that later. Him being on Drew's show. I always laugh that it ends on a freeze frame. It's like kind of random.
It's very 80s in a great way.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I do. Robbie and Julia.
All right, so now let's just get into the release, which of course there was tons of promotion for it. Tons and tons and tons. This was like, it was a very popular movie, but it was also like pushed a lot.
Yeah. Entertainment Weekly had actually even reported that the trailer was getting like to be a cult status on its own.
Oh my God.
And getting like bigger laughs than the movies that it was attached to. And I remember them.
Yeah. I mean, the trailer had like the rapping grandma.
Yeah. That was a big part of it.
But it was like, it wasn't misleading, but it was definitely looked like more of a slapsticky thing.
Well, yeah, Drew has even said in the previews, they show all the scenes that are really kind of quote unquote Adam Sandler-ish. And I remember that. It's like I have the microphone and you don't, you will listen to every word I say. And also the things that should have been brought to my attention yesterday. Like the screaming. Yeah.
There were like many magazine covers, including Mademoiselle, Detour, Teen People, Movie Line, and then talk shows, of course, like Rosie, Letterman. Those are like really common ones she would go on. I don't remember the View appearance.
I don't think we've ever seen it.
Oh.
Or if we have, it's been like once. Yeah, it's not one that was like in rotation for us.
Yeah.
Drew and Adam together did TV specials on VH1 and MTV. I'm going to link to the VH1 one because I love it so much. They're like introducing 80s music videos and they're just so sweet together.
Oh, that's cute. Then there was a lipstick that was made with Urban Decay that was called The Wedding Singer. It was kind of like a reddy brown.
Yeah, it was like double. Like one side was one like a lighter version, one side was a darker version.
Do you have one of it?
I do finally, who knows where. But it was like, took me forever to get. And I always wanted it.
Yeah, I remember like there's a clipping about it, I think.
Yep.
The proceeds for the sales of this lipstick went to the Wildlife Way Station and the Female Health Foundation, which Drew was sort of involved as like a spokesperson for both of those.
Yeah. She was doing her philanthropy. This was like kind of the beginning days of it.
Yep.
And then like later months, Drew and Adam would go to Australia and the UK and Germany to promote the movie. It was a big hit, as we'll get a little more into.
The movie was released February 13th, 1998. 26 years ago today, if you're listening on the day that this came out.
Look at that timing.
Yeah.
We did it again.
Yes.
The night of the release, the cast and the crew, they all took a party bus around to different theaters and like would run inside and watch 5 minutes and run back out and scream and have a great time on the bus dancing. We talk a little bit more about it in our Adam Sandler episode if you want the full story.
From Wildflower?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think we'd heard that before, right?
I don't think so, but I've heard it since. I think she's mentioned it since.
Yes.
But yeah, so the movie was a huge hit, which is just so cool. There's a really brief clip I want to throw in of Drew on talking to Dennis Miller about the success of the movie and sort of like how she felt about it.
Hey, congratulations. You had a
Thanks.
22 million.
Yeah.
It's pretty staggering. I mean, I like Adam.
I know. I love Adam. That's why it
million.
makes me feel so good, because Adam's just so wonderful. You know, he's funny and a good person, and he you know, basically gave people a gift with this movie. I was kind of lost this weekend because I would have been there. You know, I would have been going to that movie. This is exactly the movie theater experience I want. I want to laugh and have a good time and be entertained and, you know, sit there and believe this could happen to me. And if I want to be tortured, I'll stay home and, you know, rent good art movies.
Yeah, and then they started using some of that success in the advertising. So if you want to see examples of like how much advertising there was, we've got quite a few on the Museum.
We do a lot of magazine ads for this. The movie had a budget of $18 million and ended up making $123.3 million worldwide, which is amazing.
So good for Drew.
Yes.
I mean, here we go. We've talked about this like multiple Renaissance thing that Drew's had, but I think that this was like the real launch like of her career.
Definitely.
She had to be bigger than ever, I think, in like 98, 99.
Totally.
You know? Like as far as like being a household name, for sure.
And like this is how she was able to be established as a leading lady who could carry a picture like this and Ever After. Like it wasn't a thing before. I mean, Mad Love kind of, but it's not like that was a big hit.
Yeah. So this is Drew as a leading lady.
Of course, in like typical Drew fashion, there's a quote from Movie Line where she says, "I think The Wedding Singer is a movie people will enjoy, but instead of dollar signs, I see enjoyment signs." That's so true. Like she doesn't care about the money, but she wants like the investors to make back their money. Like that's all she cares about.
That's so cute. I mean, she can almost have this like effortless sort of like business sense. She's like, yeah, we'll get the money as long as people are liking it. You mentioned that the soundtrack was extremely popular.
Yeah.
Had a volume 2. Like it was like the demand was there.
Yeah. I mean, like my friends, I have to shout out Clarice. I told her that we're going to do this episode and that I'll definitely be mentioning her because she was one of my friends who loved this movie the most. I think she even had the theater poster in her room and I was pretty jealous about that. But I totally have memories of being in her car listening to the soundtrack and like, you know, the certain quotes, like, I don't know, for some reason when George starts his song, like that always sent us into hysterics. Give me time. That always makes me think of her.
Well, because he like starts it over.
Yeah, it's so good.
So there was a Broadway musical of this, a stage performance that was in 2006. I never saw it.
It's still performed like all over the country now. Like schools do it and stuff. It's wild.
Aww, that's cool. One of the coolest things about Drew and Adam having like started with Wedding Singer is that they've actually been able to reunite a couple times. Sort of like those classic, you know, like movie.
Hepburn and Tracy.
Yeah. So they reunited for 51st Dates in 2004 and Blended in 2014. But they're also like teasing that they're trying to get another movie together.
Been doing it for a while. Let's go, guys.
I know. We're ready for it. I mean, let's see. How many years has it been since Blended? It's been 10 years.
10. Yeah, it's time.
We're ready.
I love Adam was on the Drew Barrymore show. I think it was just last year doing the little Drewber segment. And I think we have to include this because he talks about The Wedding Singer.
If you had one movie that you had to choose, one movie gets to represent, like, you know, when they put the time capsule together?
Like in 51st Dates, I made you a tape every day. Remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
You're good. You're good. Yeah.
What?
Right, so,
what would be your
that,
one? You only get one.
So the movie that kind of sums up everything?
Yeah.
I worked with this young lady one time. I met her at the Newsroom Cafe. She came in. She had stylish hair, a little pinkish. She came in. We jammed on a movie idea. We got together. We shot it. We had the best time ever. And I said, I want to see that one. And we call it The Wedding Singer.
Aww.
So sweet.
Yeah, I love that so much. And then she recently,
oh my gosh, made headlines. Literally, there's like news reports everywhere about this.
Yeah, I think Drew just like saw The Wedding Singer on TV or started watching it. And then this was her like public response on TikTok. It's so sweet.
We made such a good movie. I love you so much. Happy New Year. What year was it that we met in the newsroom? 1922. It started this morning and I was on my way to yoga class and I'm taking the next later one so I could watch it.
Aww. And that was posted exactly a month ago today as of us recording it. So that's the most recent. And so we know that Drew had an amazing time making this. We love it. We had an amazing time watching it every time we watch it.
I was so excited to talk about it with you. Like
yes.
I can't wait to do more for our commentary.
I know.
It's just such a favorite forever and ever.
Yes. So thank you everybody for joining us for this episode that's very important to us and dear to our hearts.
Yeah. If you liked it, leave us a rating and a review. We haven't gotten one in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then follow us on Instagram at HowDoYouDrewPod and at Drewseum.
Also visit our website at howdoyoudrew.com, hosted on the Drewseum.com. Sign up for our Patreon. Don't forget to do that because the commentary will be there. Don't forget to send listener mail to howdoyoudrewpod@gmail.com. And we'll see you next Tuesday.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
They were cones.
This episode of the How Do You Drew podcast was researched and produced by Ashley and Ann from thedrewseum.com with help from our sponsor, Positive Medium.
Special thanks to Matt Costa for our lovely theme song, Roxy Prima for our adorable logo, and last but not least, Drew Barrymore and all the Drewbies who love her. We do this for you.
Thank you.